Tak ešte raz, vážené publikum, milí študenti a hostia z externého prostredia, ja sa veľmi ospravedlňujem za celé to meškanie, ktoré tu vzniklo vada v systéme, nie v našich osobách, tak dúfam, že nám to odpustíte a že sa to už nebude druhýkrát opakovať. Ja teraz prejdem do angličtiny because of our dear guest, Piotr. I'm very sorry for this let's say late start, and thank you all to be patient and to be with us still this evening. I would like to introduce you our dear guest, Piotr Smierzewski. I hope I have pronounced it correctly. Architect from Analog Studio. We've been already discussing the title of the studio, so I'm sure Piotr will explain it to you why he is not digital but analog. And I'm happy that he is actually analog and physical with us, not only in online version as it used to be years before during COVID. In the same time, I would like to say that Piotr belongs to the, let's say, most important and influential generation of Polish architects. Right now, Analog Studio is an important office with plenty of realizations and important projects in the field of public, but also housing and other achievements, which he will properly explain during his lecture. And I don't want to somehow make the time even more complicated, so I will pass the word to Piotr. The floor is yours, and thank you once again for coming and being with us this evening, so please.
Thank you. Trzeba było dłużej przytrzymać. Raz, dwa. Okay. First of all, thank you very much for the invitation. It's really a privilege to be here and to start the next series of lectures, reflections on architecture. And I was talking to the program, and I found there are a lot of very interesting architects from very different generations. I think it's a quite good selection. It's a good selection because, first of all, there are different generations of architects you will be seeing here in this room, and they are also from different parts of Poland. Poland is a little bit bigger than Slovakia, so it matters where you practice, so it makes a difference where you make your architecture. And I think the selection is also very important because there are, I think, probably two of architect studio inside this selection which will define the Polish architecture in the next 10 or 20 years. I mean, first of all, about this youngest generation of architects like Prolog. There will be the next, this is going to be the next studio, the next practice which comes here, and AA Collective, Zygmunt Borawski as well. I think this is this generation of architects which give the Polish architecture the content. Because I don't know how do you see, but for me, Polish architecture is very nice from the pictures. There are a lot of nice pictures. The pictures of Polish architecture, they look pretty similar to the Western architecture, like German, French architecture, maybe Swiss even. But the most important thing, what makes the difference is, I think, the lack of the content. Why we do what we do? Why does it look something like it looks? And I think this problem is going to be solved by the next generation of architects like Prolog, AA Collective. I'm pretty sure that is going to happen. I start with some kind of timeline which shows our work, let's say my work in different studios which I created. First of all, at the very beginning, it was the freie architect. It means I was working in Germany, in Karlsruhe, for many years, and I was also teaching at the TU Darmstadt for six years. So it was some kind of this German period, let's say it was some additional thing to my education, to the education which I made in Gdańsk and then in Oklahoma State University. And this first period which started with the education at the Technical University, then the first work in professional studios, and then first own studio, Freie Architect. I think this first period ends in 1999, and this is this formation period with, where there was a lot of time put to the education. And in 1999 we created a professional studio with my partner Dariusz Herman, HS 99 Herman and Smierzewski. This studio was created to realize some projects from the competition we won in the previous years, like 97 and 98. And it lasted till 2016, so almost 17 years we were making architecture together. And in 2016 I decided to close the HS 99 office and to start another part in maybe the last one, probably, I hope, with my professional practice with the office called Analog. As you see, there's a lot of projects here. I haven't counted them all, so I don't know how many it is, but there is a lot. And if you look close enough and close and pick some of the categories of the projects, then you can see that there are two main categories we are interested for. The first of all is the category of houses, single-family houses, let's say. And this is for us very, very important architectural task to design the house. Not only the walls, but actually we are trying to design the space in the space the people are going to live. This is much more interested than to design the walls and design the rooms. And it's unlike, let's say, big offices with 50 or 60 or 100 people. We make the project for single-family houses throughout our whole practice. It's not so that at the first time, at the very, very beginning, you make the houses because you don't have any bigger projects. For us, it is very, very important, and we make the single-family houses all the time. It's, of course, very difficult when you have 10 or 15 people to make single-family house and to earn money with it. It's very, very complicated and not always possible. And the second category are the competitions. There are many of them. I have counted them. There are 70 here, like more or less 70 competitions, which we made in the last years. And we made the competition out of several reasons. I just called two. The first one is that this is the only possibility to get the commission for the public building in Poland. Public building, I mean the library, theater, concert hall, museum, objects like this. So this is the first reason. We want to build this building. In order to build this building, we need to take part in the competition. And the second reason is that for us, the competition, to making the competition is also some kind of self-education. It's making a competition for the new type of the building, for opera, for instance. We make a big research. It's like 1 month, 2 person, dealing only with research about the typologies, about the history of the typology, and so on. So this is like 2 months intense dealing with a new typology. And The same with the place, of course, with the context for the next project. So making the competition is also good for self-education. And yeah, as you may know, not each of the competitors you can win. Out of the 70 competitions, we won like 10. So it's like 1 to 7. I think it's quite okay, 1 to 7 chances to win the competition. When you think that each of this project is about €1 million contract, then and then you see, for instance, you have the lottery on the other side, and you have the chances are 0 to win the 1 million. So this is a good way. It's much better to make the competition than to play the lottery in order to get this million. And one more thing about the making competition, maybe that it's a little bit like in the sport or in the music. The more you practice, the better you are. And it's obvious, it's true, you need practice to be good. And unlike in sport, where you are at 40, let's say, you are actually out of the discipline, you cannot be better and better after 40 in sport. In the architecture, you can be better and better after 40, after 50, and then even after 60 and 70. There are a lot of good architects which proves that this is the true. Let's think about Louis Kahn, for instance, who made his first building after 50. So this is also our selection for today. I'm going to show you some projects from these competitions, and then some projects from our housing category. And this is a very important year for me. This is 1989. This is the year I made my first diploma at the university in Gdańsk. It's also a very important year for Poland, and for Europe, for the Eastern Europe. This was the time where the free election in Poland in this year were possible. They were actually made the next year, and this is the first Prime Minister, Mateusz Mazowiecki, przepraszam, the first and the best Prime Minister we ever had. I hope in 2 weeks we have the election, next election. I hope we could have again a Prime Minister we can be proud of. I know you have also elections. You had your chance, yeah. But let's see. I hope we can manage it. So this is the program for today. I just tried to show the projects from each of the period of our practice. So the first 2 projects are from the Freie Architect period. The other 3 ones, they are from HS99, and the last 5 are analog projects. So let's start with this first project. The first one I want to show is the building in very small town of Koszalin. This is the town between Szczecin and Gdańsk, close to the Baltic Sea. The town where we won our first competition for the local newspaper, offices, and as I said, this is the first competition we won. We make the competition in German and in Poland, and some of them we have some mentions in German and some mentions in Poland, but the first competition we won was in Koszalin in Poland, so that's why probably I am here today when you are presenting the Polish architecture, because I decided later on to move to Koszalin, to Poland, in order to make to change these projects into the real building in realizations. So the first one is the local newspaper offices. For the local newspaper, a building about 1,000 square meters. It's not that big. When you see on the city plan, it's It's located in the city center, this medieval city center of the town. This is this white, the white square to the right. In some kind of different area of the city, you see this regular city blocks all over the city square, and the one with this white square is not so regular. It's because this was from the very beginning of the city, of the history of the city, the place for the different functions. Yeah? There was no living there, but there was first of all, there was a cloister for Cistercians cloister, then it was the castle, and then there was also the residence of the bishop. So due to this fact, this area is a little bit different built. And this is the situation we are dealing with. This is our site, the plot. The plot which is dominated by this church, this Schlosskirche, as a castle church from old time. And actually the task in this competition was to rebuild and make an extension of this heating plant building you see to the top, left to the top, with this big chimney. And this was the competition was about building this, about extend this building. And out of 20 or 30 projects which were sent to this competition, we were actually the only ones who said it's not good. This is not a good decision to extend, to make an extension to the building which is simply not wrong placed, the building which should have been there at all, and it doesn't make sense to extend the building which shouldn't have exist here. So we decided not to make this in order, but to put this building where it should be. You see this big storage of coal in the front. This is close to the street. It has direct connection to the street because it was easy, simple. It was easier to put this coal direct from the street and to put this heating plant behind this. And we decided that it has to be changed, and the right place for this local paper, local newspaper offices is this place direct to the street. This is the street in the 1997. I like to come back to these pictures because they show really how far we are from that time, from these times. 1997, the location just to the left, you see these white walls. This is the place where we decided to place our building. And it's always the same strategy to make the project. First of all, this is the typology, to study the typology you want to choose, and the other one is to study the context. And this work was also done here. We're trying to see it, to understand what this place was before, what this place is now, and what this place wants to be in the future. Those are almost exactly the same three questions we have. What was the place? What is the place now? And what the place wants to be? Not we, but what the place wants to be. In order to give the answer to this question, you need to understand the place. And for us, those were these images of this Schlosskirche, the context of the Schlosskirche, and the square, small square, which we see here in front of the church. This is how it looks before the Second World War. I mean, in the time where everything works fine, when the city was fine, which was not destroyed after the Second World War. And what we are trying to do, we try to restore this kind of spatial relationships. It was, of course, not possible to restore it with 100% because the ownership structure had totally changed. And this is something which is very, very characteristic for this area which were left from Germans after the Second World War, and the Poles were come to these places mostly from Ukraine, and they didn't understand the city at all. Yeah? First of all, they were from the villages, not from the cities, and they come to the city and they didn't understand what the city is, what is to live in the city. And probably that's why we see how this heat plant was placed just like for the simple where the place is. And this was our proposal for solution of this spatial problem. The square is a little bit bigger, and there's also a place. You see this pavement. There's the place for the entrance to the building, also to the park, which is behind the church. This is the city. There are the city walls, and behind the city walls we have the park. This is how the structure tries to connect to the square. You see this two-story entrance hall, which is open to the square in front of the Kirche, in front of the church. And some interiors from the time. This is 2001, so like 22 years ago this building was built, and it was the times were very difficult because there was no technologies. There was no building industry technologies in our country, so we had to put the things from very, very different things. Let's look at this partition walls between corridor and the office, which are behind them. There was no system at that time, so we had to make this wall by ourselves. I mean, if we just make the simple gypsum board walls and put the simple aluminum windows above it, and we get what we wanted to have. The second project, it's also a competition we won 1 year later. This is the project for the sacristy. This is the most important building in the city of Koszalin, the Gothic cathedral out of the 13th century, which is one of two buildings left out of this time up to nowadays. So it's very, very important for the city, important also for the memory of the city. And the competition called for the new sacristy. Because this church became cathedral, it means when the church becomes cathedral, it means that there is much more priest to be, you need to have much more place for the priest. And this small sacristy, which is here, this is the existing old sacristy, let's say, was not enough to hold all of these people there. And this was a competition, invited competition, so we were invited to this competition. There were only 5 projects sent, and our proposal was not to build another chapel-like addition to the existing structure, but rather take it away, to put away this function, because sacristy is more or less like a wardrobe. It's very pragmatic function, and we decided not to put any additional element to this structure, which we consider it's finished. It doesn't need any more. It's finished, and we placed the sacristy like here, but beneath the ground, and we use this old sacristy to connect the old one with the new one under the ground. And we are thinking that it's obvious that everybody will make the same project, the same concept, because at that time, it was the 1998, out of these materials which were on the market, it was not possible to make anything which was good and which could stand with this building. But it appears we were the only one to put this sacristy under the ground. And it's far away from this main church, the sacristy, so this foundation of this old church are protected. We are making the sphere, and as I said, we make stairs downstairs in order to connect this old sacristy with new sacristy, and the stairs were put exactly on the door axe. You see this door axe, and you go direct through this door to the altar, which is somewhere here. And the new sacristy was very, very functional designed. So you have this entrance. To the right of the entrance, you have two technical maintenance rooms. I mean the wardrobe and the toilet. And to the left, you have one room space, which is littered throughout these small squares. You see this one? Those are squares with the cuts in the slab, which allows to go the light inside, the natural light. And there are additional lighting here, which are the same size, but they are artificial. They are here. And this is how it was built. The materials were reduced to two materials. We have the concrete for the walls, and then you have the wood for the furnishing. Okay, and from outside, we have that kind of image that, for instance, in the night when you are here in this area, and there's somebody in the sacristy, you see the lights, and you see that something has happened. Okay. As I said before, in order to build this winning competitions for the local newspaper offices and for the sacristy, we decided to make the office HS99 in Koszalin, because those two projects were in Koszalin. And of course, doing these working drawings, details, we have been working on next competitions, and 2002 we managed to win the competition in Katowice for the academic library. It was very important, and a very important competition, not only for us but also for the Poland as a country, because this was the first competition which was made in 2 stages. It means that the first stage, there was like, everybody could take part in the first stage. There were like 100 entries for the first stage. And then out of this 100 projects, there were 5 selected for the second stage. So this was quite unique, and the first time in Poland, 2001. And the other one, the other point which was also very important, it was that this was the first competition where the price for the project doesn't matter. I mean, it was not a criteria to select the object, but because in the competition which were held before, you also had this position, you had to write how much you want to get for this project, and this was also a criteria. You get the points for this. So this was the first one where the honorarium didn't matter. Very nice. What we see here is the area of the university, Silesian University. Those are those old, actually, trainings college building, not a university building, which were adopted for the new function for the university. And you see here the new faculty building, which were built at that time. This is the law faculty building. And the plot for the library was here selected. This is our competition entry from the second stage, the competition, the boards which won this competition. And this is our library as it was built 10 years later. You see, you have 2002, the competition, and 2012 was this built. So like 10 years working on this project. Of course, not constantly working only on this project, but 10 years, this project was in our office. It was, it has like a free changes, totally changes, functional changes inside. But it is often the point that in order to build this building, public building, you have to be patient. Yeah? You have to wait 10 years. So this is the library we designed it. You see, this is a relative introvert structure. There is not, it seems that there is not so much openings. We have one big opening at the bottom where the entrance to the building is, and the whole other structure is more or less closed. This building is, the library building was a part of a big development area. So this is the project we did 2004. It's like some kind of master plan for the whole campus of University of Silesia. We have this, our library here, and then we have here some new additional building for the university designed. And actually, our interventions were in order to make some, to bring some order in this developing area. Like for instance, this part of the, like some kind of square, some kind of plaza, university plaza with students building, with the library, and the library should be on this most important place at the university. Section model to the library. We see this many of the small windows, and we see, of course, here this. So we have a great big opening here in the ceiling, which provides the necessary amount of light inside of the building. This is the plan of our library. It's very simple. It's very repetitive, let's say. This was the time we really believe in, and we are trying to make this distinction between hardware and software, between the hardware of the building and the software of the building. And as you may know, the hardware, this is the structure of the building. I mean that those are the poles, those are the slabs, concrete, the facades, and the software is this is the function, this is the program. And as I said before, we had like 3 changes in this library. I mean, totally changes. So very many things have to be changed in order to build this library later. And this distinction of on hardware of the building and software of the building helped us a lot to make it possible. So we see this regular plan floor with some division with technical or support rooms which are here placed. And this is this element which divides the library in 2 parts. The first part is here. This is the staff area with restricted entry. You cannot, not everybody can come here. Then we have here this reading rooms, one reading room, main reading room, the second reading room, and the open storage area which is here. What was for us very important was the materiality of the building. We wanted this building somehow pick the the topics from the surroundings, this materiality from the surroundings. As you may know, there's a lot of industrial building in Silesia and Katowice, and they are mostly made out of brick. So brick is this material which is very, very characteristic. That's red colored brick. And we found very interesting at that time to make a building which looks like a brick building from far away. But when you come closer to the building, you discover that this is not a brick. That must be something different. And then you can getting closer. Then the more you understand the building, the more you understand of what is this building made of. And I think this is some kind of nice perspective, so in depth of perspective, of perception of the building. So it is not so that everything can be understood at once. You need the time, you need the distance to make the whole of the building. So this was an important issue, this perception depth of the building. So when we come closer, we see that this is not a brick. This must be something different. When we come closer, then so we can touch the building, we see that this is a stone. And this is not a polished stone. This is a stone which is made out of cut slabs. So it's very rough. And this is the main reading room. I mean, this is also the main, most important room in the whole building. With this light coming from above, and also with the same motif, with the same topic of this building. What we saw here on the facade, we have the same. On the facade, on the paving, we have the same elements translated to the inside furnishing. This is the project we made, the competition we won 10 years later. So let's say we were 10 years older and 10 years maybe wiser. And the task of this competition was to design a culture center in Wałbrzych, which is not far away from Bratislava. It's like 250 maybe kilometers. And to design the culture center as an extension of this building. This is an old cinema building out of the 30s. And it should be extended, and it should be also new function added, like a concert hall for 650 people, the big one, and the smaller one for 150. So this was the program, and the site was very difficult for this project because we have here the city center with those squares. There are two squares in Wałbrzych, and this is the niveau, which is, let's say, 15 meter higher than the street here. So we have extreme topography. The difference of the highness is like 15 meters, so quite a lot. So this is the building which should be restored and should be the part of the new complex. And in order to solve this problem, we decided to take a completely different strategy than by the library, for instance. By the library, we had a building which was a freestanding structure, which was placed more or less on the ground. So we can walk around this building, like in 5 minutes maybe, and then it is enough to make the image of the building. It's enough to understand how the building works. But it was all about to design a building and put it somewhere. It's more or less like this local newspaper building in Koszalin. This is also a building which has nice proportions and which was put on the right place. And by this project, we wanted to make it something different. We wanted to design more the spaces than the building itself. The building doesn't matter for us at this time, how it looks. We knew it won't be a freestanding structure, but rather than that, it should be a part of the system, of the urban fabric, of these elements which are already there. In order to make that, we make some courtyards like this one, which can be entered from the main street. We remove some part of this building here, which were in order to allow the people to come here. And this is actually the main entrance to the building. You go to this courtyard and then you have entrance to the building. Then there are many ways which you can enter it and go through this building. We have the connection with the upper floor. You see here, this is this 15-meter difference between in the city. And from this level you can go over the roof. Then you can take the view, see the nice view to the hills, and then you can go down the stairs to this courtyard which is here. So this building is also designed to solve the problem of the high in the city, to make the connection between two levels of the city. This is the upper level, which is directly to connected to the Mac Square, and to the street which is down here. This is how the function is placed in this situation. We have this big concert hall like for 650 people. We have the smaller one. We have there's a culture facilities, culture center here, rehearsal rooms, and this courtyard which is here, and the many different ways to come to get through this building. That's the entrance courtyard. We see here the entrance to the main entrance to the building, the entrance to the stair which lead us to the floor, to the upper floor, to the terrace on the roof. And this is just one of the many images, many spaces, inside spaces which we have here. I just pick up some of them. They are not allowed. There are not all of them, but just some. And you see, this is what I meant by the library, and that the library can be understood very easily. Just you need five minutes to go around and you understand this building. This is not like this one. This one is completely different because you need much more images to understand this building. And then when you need much more images, these images are more personal. I'm quite sure that these images could be more personal, and when the images are more personal, then the image of the whole building is also much more personal. So this building has also inside, when you see this inside is a little bit in contrast to the outside, is relatively light with a lot of white. And then again, when we come inside to the concert hall, we have again this little bit dark interior, which is a reference actually for the city, for the other side of the city. But the city has also this image. I started with a nice image of the medieval city, which is located on the hill with two market squares. But the city of Wałbrzych has also this side. This is also the city, and you see how close this coal mines come to the city. They are very, very close. And in order to respond also to this fact, to the fact of the city, we decided to make the elevation out of very, very small cubes. The cubes are like 5 by 5 centimeters, and the whole facade is made out of these cubes. And we're thinking how to make these cubes. At the very beginning, it was like prefabricated plates with black concrete inside. This was the starting point. But at some point we decided to work with Van der Sanden. This is one of the most, the biggest factory for making bricks in Europe. They are from Belgium. And together with this company, we decided to make it different, not to make it in the concrete, but to make it in the brick. And we could manage to develop our own brick, which was developed and we have the prototypes of this brick, especially for this building. This is some mock-up which was built in Belgium for our project, and this is, as I said, this is not a concrete. This is a brick, and maybe you can ask how it is possible to make your own brick for the building. Yeah, that's how it could happen that this is possible. And the question is very, very simple. When you have a relative big building and you are not trying to make too many materials in the building, when you decide to make one, like here, we decided to make out of this material the whole building, then the price of this individual element is not so high. It's very, very low in this in this big commission for the whole facade. So that's why it was possible to develop our own brick to build this concert hall and the culture center. The project has all working drawings. Everything is ready. We are waiting for the realization. And the last project from this HS 1909 period. This is the house number 9. House which is located also in Koszalin, in the suburb area of Koszalin. It was before it was a village, and in the 90s this village became part of the city, and we decided to build this house. The area is very, very nice. It's a good place to live. It's like 10 minutes by car to the city center, and the place is really wonderful. And it's located, as you see, in this part of the village. We see this brick building here, some rest of the building, Hof building. And as we come to this place, it appears that all these brick buildings started to disappear. Yeah? I mean, the buildings like this, they were either demolished. The other ones were in better technical state. They were simple thermo-modernized. They had this isolation, white isolation, and it started to disappear. The brick out of this village started to disappear. So we decided that we have to make the building out of the brick, and it has also some kind of proportion of the brick. But this was the normal situation. As we came to the plot, to the site, we saw the images like that. The brick, which nobody needed, lies in the grass. And I think this was some image the starting image for how this house should look like. When you look to the inside organization of this house, it's a simple house which is made out of 3 squares. You see here the central square, and then you have 2 other ones to the side. The central square is the public area of the house. So this is the place where all this daily activity take place. We have the kitchen, we have dining, we have fireplace, we have music, we have resting, and all these things. What you do in the family together. And then on the other side you have small rooms, private rooms, which are outside of this order. They are placed outside of this of this public area. And in order to give them a little bit more intimacy, we put this two areas. This one area, those are, let's say, cuts in the form. So we have here outside, and close to the outside we have this bathroom, and this is the same logic which is made here. We have cut in the form, and we have the supporting rooms along with this cut. And as you look maybe a little bit closer to this picture, you can imagine you have here some kind of open space in which we have two elements, freestanding elements. This space is just working like that. It's working like big open space with two elements which are freestanding, put in the room, in the space. This is how it works. The house is placed in order to make this more public area in front of the entrance, and the private area which is behind the house. So very classical, very typical. But the building, the facades are the same from this side and from the other one. Let's look inside. This is the main living area, the public space of the house. And this is a little bit, when you can compare a house to the city, I think one can compare a house to the city. Then this is the plaza, this is the square. And behind the square you have the streets, and you have your private houses, which are these rooms, which are behind this, away from this central room. And this is what I mean with these freestanding elements in the structure. You see here this bathroom. You can walk around. When you open the door, you can go through this outer space. You can go to the other door, away, and then you can just walk the house like this. You don't need to make to go to these rooms and go out with the same way. This is the view from this private room, from the bathroom, from the sleeping room. Towards living room and other private rooms. I think one can see quite clearly these layers of transparency, these layers of functionality which could be seen. You have like 25 meter view X, like this one here, to the whole building. So this is one of the houses we are, I think, really proud of, just because of this logical organization of the living inside. And this is the one we made already in analog. This is A1. It's located also in a very nice area. The one we saw before, H9, is here. And this is the A1. And by the way, this is the H13, which is also from us. So we have like three building here with very, very nice area with two lakes. This is one lake, this is the other one. And this building, the A1, is completely different. The situation is a little bit different, but we try to develop new type of the building. And we were really interested in incorporating some outer spaces inside of the building. You saw on this project before, on H9, we have some outside spaces inside the building where you can feel the weather. If it rains or snow, you have this in the house, in the middle of the house. This house is also about these elements, to have this nature inside of the house. And this is one of the 3 or 4 houses in this typology which we are trying to develop. And this is also something which is very interesting for us, not only not always invite something new, but very often to develop something which already exists. And this is this kind of strategy to develop some kind of typos, some kind of typology to put it forwards. And let's look a little bit closer to this building. We have this entrance area which is directly in the middle, in the middle of the wall. We have the entrance, and the entrance is in the space which divides the living room area to the right and the sleeping area to the left. They are totally separated. I mean, you go between them. You come, you get inside the building in the middle, between them. And so those are those two parts, and two parts of this house are connected with this one, with this element, which is a covered terrace. So we have, when you look for this house from above, you have one structure where this is one house, one building, where this roof terrace is an integral part of this building, of this house. It's not like we have the terrace by the building, behind the building, but the terrace is the part of the right part of the building. So once again, this is the entrance. When you come closer, you see the entry area, then you have this patio-like area with the tree which is put inside. Then we have this the terrace, and then behind this terrace we have the garden. Inside of the building, quite simple strategy. All the vertical planes are white. All the floors are wood, and all the ceilings are in concrete. This is the concept which is made throughout the whole building. The vertical planes, they don't touch the horizontal planes. There are just always a little gap between them, like here, in order to give the independence of all of these elements. This is how it looks from the side. What was very important for us was not to change the landscape, not to change the slopes, the natural slopes of the site, to put the building on. Rather, we wanted to make that the building goes together with the existing slopes. This is the opposite side of the building. We see this openness, total openness, and this area which is this covered roofed terrace area, which is an integral part of the house. Here, the second one, which I will show quite shortly, just because to say how we developed this, what do I mean when I say we developed this typologies? This is pretty much the same situation we had before. You see also here a covered terrace area. When you look a little bit longer, you may see that I think this is much better done than before, but this is a clear cut inside the form. This is really a room. This is a room without the glass walls. If we can imagine we have glass walls here, then we have room, but the only thing which lacks in order to be a room are just glass walls, so maybe we don't need to have the glass walls. And once again, we have the similar situation as in the project A1. We have the entrance, maybe not in the middle, but still with the view throughout the old building to the garden. We have to the right living areas, we have to the left private areas with very, very private study room here. And we have this covered terrace, which is again the integral part of the house. What is new here is those two elements is how this central part of the building is created, is designed. they are different. And this inspiration for the design of this patio area was the Gottfried Semper idea about these 4 elements of architecture, this principal, basic 4 elements of the architecture. I mean, this is the platform, and then this is the fireplace, then we have the roof, and at last we have the enclosure, the walls, let's say, enclosure. And this is, so we like this very, very simple definitions of what space is or what a house is, and this is one of them. So we decided to pick on this idea and to put in our house these 2 elements which doesn't exist, that is warm, these 2 elements which makes warm fireplaces. We have 2 of them here. We have the chimney, and then we have a fireplace which is a little bit lowered. And these 2 elements are for making possible to stay outside of the house a little bit longer. I don't know how it is in Bratislava, but in Koszalin, you cannot stay, you can go outside and use the outside of the building, like, let's say, the 1st of May, and then at the end of September is over. And when you have those 2 elements, you can start the 1st of April, let's say, and then you can end as the 1st of November. So you can make living outside of the house a little bit longer, which is, I think, very, very important. It is also some kind of connection of 2 basic types of the houses which we have in Europe. We have this southern Europe type of the house with, which is organized about the patio, about the outside space, and we have this Nordic type of the house which is organized around the chimney. And those are very, very clear different types. I think something what we are trying to do with this particular project is to combine all those 2 balls types in one. The next project is the first competition we won as an analog. It's our first competition we won. It's not a big project. It's a project in small town Włocławek on Vistula River. We have here the most important river in Poland. This is the Vistula. We have 2 squares. This is the old market square. This is the new market. The main street, the 3rd of May street, and the plot which is located here. And this is one of the very typical situations. We have the front building, then you have the building which are behind this front building, and then you have some kind of courtyards. And the competition, this is the location. This is the 3rd of the May street, and the location for the competition was this building. And the task of the competition was to build a revitalization center for the city. This is going to be a place where the inhabitants of the city can come and can learn how can they make their courtyards, their building better. What can they do with their buildings? And they can get support there, technical support, financial support, and things like this. So when you look at the city, I'm quite sure everybody says this is the city which needs revitalization. So quite interesting is that this plot with what is here was before the Second World War part of the Jewish district. This is this area with this old synagogue, which was one of the biggest in Poland before the Second World War. This is this building. This was biggest because in the city of Włocławek, this was like 30% of the inhabitants were Jewish. The synagogue was demolished in September 1939, when the Nazis came and destroyed the church. And the strategy for this project was, first of all, to maintain this front building, to restore this front building, and we decided to make it as good as possible, just as it was, without any our intervention. Like this, for instance. The only intervention is just to make a little bit order inside in ground floor area with these windows, with these openings. And the whole project, let's say, our invention was put to the back space of the house. This is the situation before. We see this here, this front building. We see this buildings which were not in very good condition, which stood in this courtyard. And we decided to remove this building. Then we decided to make the walls equal on the same level. And then in this space, we decided to put this additional program like this one, where you have the offices, and the next one where you have the artist in residence studio. This is the one. And at the end, at the very end, this is some kind of social garden where the inhabitants, the people from the city can come and then make their own vegetables here. So some kinds of sequences of different spaces, these different outer spaces, like this one, and this. This is how it looks on the second or the first floor level. You see this enclosure, the walls, which are partly the walls from the building which doesn't exist anymore, which was stand here. The new walls, they make this, they define actually the space. And then you have this additional function, this office function, and the apartment for the artist and his studio. It's again more or less one room with functions which are put inside. No walls, as you can see here, touch the border of the space. In vertical looks like this, that we have two floors. The ground floor and the first floor, which are dedicated to the public functions, and then we have two floors, which are the upper floors, which are dedicated for the small apartments. And this is how this space inside, behind this front building should look like. We have relative monochrome space defined by these brick walls, out of existing walls, new walls, and then this infillings, which spread between this existing brick walls, and a very, very small stairs which leads to the main floor, and at the end of the room, at the end of the space, the social garden. This is the artist's studio. We have behind the studio this social garden, and the window, one opening, which is placed towards the old synagogue, which doesn't exist anymore. Once again, the view from this social garden into the other courtyards. The construction is on. Probably till the end of this year, the project will be ready, will be done. We have two projects more. One competition that we didn't win, but we like this project a lot. This is the project in Katowice, in a very, very important area. This is the area of so-called culture zone. And we have a lot of buildings here which are very important. It's like Silesian Museum by Riegler und Rive. We have here Philharmonic Hall, NOSPR, by Tomasz Konio's studio. We have here Congress Centrum by Jems. Architekci, Maciek Miłobęcki will come here. And then we have this famous Spodek. It's like a sport hall. And then around more or less a commercial building. And this is a very important place because some of the architects, some of the people from the culture call this place the Acropolis of Silesian, Silesian Acropolis. And when you look, and inside this space, a parking place for 1,500 places should be designed. This was the task of the competition, and now it's a quite profound function. You know, these are very, very cultural functions here, and parking is always very something different. So we decided to put this parking into two parts, to divide these two parts. The first part is this underground part, which has like 1,000 park places, and the other one, 500 park places, are in this part of the building. And this part of the building is responsible to give the image of the city, to give the image of not only of the park place, which is here, but also to give the image of the whole culture zone area. So this division was made in order to make, first of all, the optimal park places here, below the ground, and to make a structure which allow in the future to change this function of the parking places, because if we need more park places in the future is not sure. I'm not quite sure if we really need more and more park places. Probably not. So nowadays, when you design park places, then you have actually two choices. Either you make the park places out of the elements, so you put this house, and then when you don't need these park places, you put them away, you make it down and put it away to build something different. And the other strategy is to make the structure so it can be adopted for other functions. And we decided to go this way, to design a structure which could be adopted to other spaces. And we have this element which is, as I said, which should give the image to the whole area, and it's divided in two parts. Again, we have this top part, where you have the roofed terrace with the view of Silesian, we have view of Katowice, the whole area, and we have this bottom part of the building, where we have the park places at the very beginning, but due to the height of the floors, we have the height from 4.50 meters, which allows us to put inside different functions. And we can imagine that this building could be changed to, let's say, storage of the industrial artifacts of the Silesia, and maybe later also for the commercial spaces. I mean, this was a very important building for us, because this is the first time we started to thinking about what is not only about the designing and building the building, but what is the future of the building? What is the building going to be in the future? How it is prepared for the next times, for the new times. So this is our studio, and this is the project. We had really a lot of fun to make it with. We made a lot of projects here. This is one of the projects, this final concept model. This is the project model. This is pieces for the concrete model. So this is how it looks, the analog studio when we are making the competition. This is the urban model where we're trying to find the right place for this tower-like building. You see here, this is the NOSP concept hall, and this is the new building. The place was really studied on this model. This is the final concept model, the model of this upper area of this tower with terrace. This is the model where we are trying to find the materiality of this building. You see this rough outside concrete, and the polished one inside. And this is the last project I would like to show you. This is the project we are working on since 5 years. The competition we won 2018, and yeah, still working on this. This is the city of Dąbrowa Górnicza, very close to Katowice. It's like 15 kilometers from Katowice. And this is a typical industrial city of the region. The city which was built in around factories, old factories. There were one factory here, so we have some kind of urban structure here. The other one was here, so we had different structure here. And there's also here one fabric, but there is no center of the city. The city doesn't have center. It has these areas, this part of the city which are concentrated around the old factories. And in 2015, the city bought the area, the old factory, which was here. This was the factory, which was very cheap. So the city decided to buy it in order to try to make the city center of the city, which the city doesn't have. And the project was, the competition was about this fabric, this old factory, which was going to be rebuilt for the new city center. We see the situation in 2018. You have here a big structure. This is the Culture Palace. Out of the 50s, you have the Freedom Square, which is huge, which is really, which is very, very big, and it's so this is too big almost, yeah? And we don't have a city center. And then when you look again at the city at the 30s, before the Second World War, you see how the city worked there then and now. We have these factories, like here Huta Bankowa and the city Huta Bankowa. We have the Reden, and then we have the city of Reden, and nothing more. And the first attempt to make the city center was in the 50s. We see here the project out of the 50s, where we have this here, the Culture Palace, and then we have the City Hall, and we have some kind of trial attempt to define the city center, which the city of Dąbrowa Górnicza doesn't have. Out of this project, only this Culture Palace was realized. And the second possibility is, you see, 50 years later, this is the second possibility to make the city center. So the city waited 50 years in order to make another trial, to build the city center, and this is our project. We won for this competition. You see here this old factories. After our project intervention, you see here this Culture Palace with a new square in front of it, and additional buildings who make this city center possible. This is once again from other point of view, the whole development area. So we have, again, let's start from this Culture Palace building. We have a new square, which is much smaller. Then we have the old buildings here. We have one cut which we made inside the old factory halls. We made this cut in order to make a space inside the fabric, so in some kind of square, inside square. And the new building which follows the logic of the existing factory halls. This main factory square was defined by this vertical element we see here. This is some kind of tower, which is very characteristic for the medieval towns, squares, and very similar element like this one, but just lying. This one is standing, this one is lying, but both of them are new, and both of them are made out of the same material and they are for making this space coherent. This is how it looks. This is the Freedom Square after our intervention. You have here some kind of pergolas, links und rechts, to the left and to the right. We see the proportion of these elements are taken from this Palace of Culture. They're exactly the same height. So I think it could work together. And we have the other square, which is the green square, the green market, and this is so quite informal space inside this factory. We have this. We see here the factories holes which were cut and became new facade. This one is closed, the other one is open. And once again, the strategy for the place. We had first of all we had this culture, of Palace of Culture building, which is a freestanding structure staying on the square, big square. And on the other side, we have this factory full of life area where we cut out a place, a square, which is more or less the same size like the culture of Palace. And this is how it works in the starting point of the development of this area. And the aim is that this will be the starting point, and for the further development of the next buildings will be there. The ground floor of the area we are working on with an attempt to see how much density we need in order to make this place working, in order that the place work. And this is how this area already works. This is a factory full of life, 2022. It's without our intervention. This is just how it simply works. I mean, this place is not directly inside the factories, but beside, they are used already for this city, for this urban function. Like this is a food court area, which is located by the factory. And this is quite different situation as we had before, but because before we had the situation like this, the main space, the most representative space for the people who work with these factories were the factory itself. And there was nothing else. There was like this factory, I mean the place to work, and then was the place to live, I mean the apartment or this house, and there was the way between. And this was everything. As the place between the factory and the place between this house was used only for moving from one point to the other one, and was not using for staying in this place like this one. This is quite different quality of the space. This is space where you stay, and this is something new what the city already has, and probably will be having much more when the project will be completed. This is the situation, the new situation which is going to be achieved between the old factory halls. This is some view of how the factory halls will be rebuilt. This is one of them, which is going to be a food court and a marketplace. This is the other one, which is going to be a simple passage between the market square, between this green square and the culture of Palace site. And as I said, this is the project we are working on, and probably the next year the construction will start of the first factory halls. Now what we have is the image like this. This is the same hall before the intervention. The hall like it looks today. Thank you very much. That was the last project and the last image. Those are the partners of our office and all of the people who worked on the last 5 projects. Thank you very much.
I use the red one.
Okay.
Piotr, thank you very much. I mean, very interesting works you have shown us, and of course, I hope there are some questions from the side of the audience. Okay.
Okay.
Nevertheless, still some hands rise. I will I want to comment on it because my first question will be, or first comment, that there have been quite a lot of public commissions in the frame of your presentation. So is it like that you can say that this is the most of your works you are doing in your studio, that they are like public? Mm-hmm. Is it true?
Yeah, I think it's true. This is the project we want to make, first of all, as well as the same as the houses. As I said, the very, very small ones and the very, very big ones. Those are the things we are interested in. But not only, of course, we are making as well apartment buildings. We are making the buildings for the commercial apartment buildings as well. This is also part of our work. It's not the most important one. We have to do it because we have to live. We have to pay our people, so we also have to do this project. But this is those are the one we want to make. Simple. But last time we won our competition. We won the last is the competition for the social housing in Stargard, close to the Szczecin. This is the place where 250 apartments are going to be built. I mean, social apartment. So not only public, but mostly, I would say.
Yeah, because this is really admirable from our point of view here in Slovakia. I don't think that architects have so many opportunities to work for this kind of
it was the time
commissions.
It was the time where there was a lot of these commissions, a lot of competitions for this kind of building. For the concert halls, we have like 10 competitions for the concert halls. Museums.
Because I remember this would be those years when your Minister of Culture was a professor of architecture, if I remember good. This was really like history of architecture. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
That's true.
Just comparing it with our contemporary situation after the elections. Okay, but there is another observation I would like to make, and then there are, of course, some questions from the side of the audience. That what is really amazing is the scale, because all the projects that you have shown, it's like we can see this huge country with amazing scale of the cities, these loose structures, and how you are somehow dealing with these empty spaces and fill it with new functions and everything. So this is really something we do not have the experience with such a huge scale. So this is also quite surprising to see it like in all of the projects. But this is only a comment from our small country with our small scale environment. But yes, please, some questions from your side, dear colleagues and students and whatever. Oh, yes.
Hi, good evening, actually. Thank you for a lecture. My question is the axonometric view of the last project. You stated 3 words. It was, thanks for helping me. Yes, exactly. It said, one word. Reuse, rebuild, recycle. And whereas I understand the reuse and rebuild, what did you mean with the recycle? Is there some strategy of using some old materials, of incorporating that in the existing one, or what do you mean by that?
I mean, there's a lot of construction material on the site. You know, it means we will taking apart some of the factory halls, and there is a lot of construction material on the side left, and we want to use it. As you look at this picture, we have, for instance, the pavings of this part of the floors. They will be made out not only, but also with these old elements which are over there, with these brick elements. They are going to be left on the side. Yeah? We want to left on the side as much elements as possible. When you look, for instance, this maybe not so very important, but this one. This is the old lamp. This is the old lighting fixture, which is taken from inside of the building, putting outside. And some of the elements from these factories, they also stay here on the plot. You see here this element. They're also here. It's very difficult with the construction material to put it again, to build again with the same material. It's very difficult because you need to have all this tests, because the
legislation doesn't allow it.
Legislation. It's very difficult. Yeah? But you can put this element as victims. Let's say you say this is the word we use in Poland. Victims. I mean, you have the wall. This is not a construction, but this is some points of this element. Let's say every 10th element could be victim in the wall, because it doesn't matter. It's not construction.
Okay, so you just put it out because you know that the wall will not fall?
No, some of the walls have to be demolished. Yeah, okay. Because we have the holes. In order to make this central square, we have to put away 3 or 4 factory holes. So we have this material over there, and the intention is to make as much as possible out of this material. And this was also what we wanted to make in this project. But as you see here, the image is completely different. We have this bricks which are here to the left. Those are the bricks which are from these houses which exist here. But look at how few of them are inside the walls. These dots, very small dots. These are the old ones. It was not possible to make out of this brick a new wall, construction wall.
Okay, because nobody can guarantee that this material is actually can be used for construction.
It's functional, because you have to prove each one.
Which is
undoable. It's not possible. Maybe by a huge project it would be possible, but not by this project. This is something relatively small.
Interesting. Thank you.
Yes. Hi. Thank you for the lecture. I was wondering about the library project that you showed us. Yes, right. When you look at the plan precisely. I find that the plan is very rational, and I think that's like every architect's dream to have a library like clean and like fixed and everything. But when you compare it with, like, for example, Oslo's library in Dijkman, or even if you compare it to the student library in, for example, KTH or Technical University in Stockholm, for example, the first floor is made more to sort of like spark some conversation between the students. Like there are some coffee shops, places to meet. There is some part that's really made up for that. And I was wondering if your decision to design this library as this was something that came out from a brief, or if you sort of like thought this was sort of like a better setup, or what were you thinking?
So we have here the ground floor is an open floor. Yeah. It's a floor you can go through. So you can maybe just go here. So it can be seen also on this picture. The ground floor, so the floor is open. You have over there this ein cafe. There is exhibition space as well. There is also a small lecture room for the meetings with the different people. So more or less the ground floor is open. So you can you can come here inside and go on the other side of the building, where also there is a river. So the ground floor is open. You go through, you go to the left, and then you are inside the library, and then the whole library is on the first and the second floor. It's just above.
Cool. Yeah, thank you.
Probably this is not really a kind of public library, that it's like...
This is student, for student, but it's public.
Because as a public you can probably enter on only this ground floor, if I understood it correctly.
This floor is open, the library is open, so everybody can come inside.
So you can move around?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. And this is also a free storage, so you can go to the book and take the book, and then you go down with this book, and then either you make it by yourself, that you check out, or you go to the desk and they make it for you. But you have the very, very sublime border between a library and the public space. So there's electronically controlled. And there are also, of course, some books which are very, very rare, and they need to be taken care of, so they are in this tower. So the tower,
they are hidden.
Yeah, they are hidden. Yeah, exactly. So there are some books which should be protected very, very well, and those are in the tower.
Some other questions, dear colleagues. Yes.
So thank you very much for inspiring lecture, and I would like to go to, I think, second project you showed us, and you said a really interesting thing that you ask yourself question like, what was the place, what is the place, and what the place wants to be. And I would really like to know, how do you discover what the place wants to be? Because you cannot ask the place what it is their intentions to be. So I would like to know, how to find out the future of the place.
Yeah, that's not easy, of course. But in order to give the answer to this question, you need to ask these two first questions. And this is relatively easy to make it, because you need to study the place. In order to know what it was, you need to study. You need to know very, very well. And then what it is also a study or analyze of what the place is. And out of two elements, you need to decide what the place wants to be. And I mean, this is the personal. This is the personal, yeah? And everybody would have different answer.
So you would say it's your personal architect's decision that you need to make, that this is going to be like this?
It's more like that, but you know, it's making architecture is needs a lot of responsibility. It's very, and this is the basic thing you have to make when you want to make something new when you want to put something new on the place. You have to understand what it was, how it worked. For instance, this is a good example, because this is the city of Koszalin was 1945 was demolished in 80%, and then the people who come to the city, they were new, they were completely new, they didn't understand the city, they were completely new, and that's why it was possible to put this heating plant somewhere in the city where the place was, But because the people who lived there for centuries wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that. And you need, in order to make something new on the site, you need to be a little bit like the one who lives in the city for ever, for the many, many times. So this is something I think, I understand the responsibility in architecture this way. You need to know. You need to learn. And that's why what I said, we need, when you make one competition, we need like 1 month for 2 people to discover this before we draw the line. We have to know what it was, what it is, and we are trying together to figure out what is going to be, what wants to be.
Okay, so in order to look into the future, you'll need to look into the past.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
And the good example was this parking area. This was also looking for the future. Not only future which ends with the construction site, but what is this building ready for in the future? Because when the building needs to be demolished after 10 or 15 years, it's the worst thing could happen to the nature, to everything. And we have in Poland, buildings which were made after 1989, also in the 90s, also they are 20 years old, and they are demolished. They're put away, and the new structures are built on the same site, 20 years. And they are demolished because they have the ceiling too low. For instance, when the ceiling is not 4.50 meters, you cannot change practically nothing in this building. You have put it down. So we have a lot of building in Warsaw, for instance. We are nowadays demolished in order to put the new ones on the same place, more or less the same size, a little bigger, of course.
Yes, I mean, this is a quite general problem we have not only in post-socialist countries, but this heritage of these boom years.
Yeah, but this is also because it was very hard years, and there was not, the construction industry was not so strong, and the buildings were made out of nothing. So with not good materials as well.
There is also kind of capitalization of building construction, and that you only, you are not that much thinking about what the place wants to be, but how much it will bring. This is the crucial question, I mean, even today, so I'm very sorry, but okay. Some more questions. I'm prepared to run after you with this beautiful red microphone. You are tired, huh? Aren't you? Piotr is tired as well.
Okay.
But I have a small, let's say, provocative question, because looking at your some of the images you have shown us, I recognize a kind of, let's say, archetypes you are working with, and it reminded me a little bit like of this, let's say, postmodern wave in our countries in 80s, you know, this like Aldo Rossi stuff and something of let's say Robert Venturi, and how you dealt with this factory, for example, how you put these structures in. It reminds me very much of his Philadelphia project, if I'm right. So what is your attitude to this, let's say, ideology behind your work? If you would characterize yourself, your attitude, is it more like you are a kind of contextualist or a kind of postmodernist, or what would you say?
I would say it's, as I said, even this responsibility to the site, it's also, you know, it's something like the responsibility for the profession you make. And to this responsibility of the profession you make belongs also the study of the architecture which is now. Also the background of the architecture. This is, I think, this is crucial, you know, that you have to know this. Also, you need to know the discipline you are working in. Without knowing this, you cannot make nothing. So this is also one part of our work that we are trying to know. Right? We have lots of Bücher, Aldo Rossi, Venturi, we have all of them. And we have a pretty big library out of this, with these books. And this is our background. We're trying to know this, because, you know, when you are a physician, or when you deal with a physician, for instance, you cannot make an experiment without knowing what experiments were made already, you know. And in architecture it's a little bit similar. You know, you must know what was already done, and you must also have a reflection on this.
You put it already in frame of your lecture that you don't need to invent always new things, that sometimes it's good to develop or involve what was already invented before. So thank you. Am I right that there are no more questions from your side?
I have one more.
You have a question?
No, I don't have a question. I have answer your question. I think that we are living in some kind of postmodernist time. Yeah, I think still they are postmodernists. Yeah? I mean, I don't believe in the future as I was believing 20 years ago, for instance. Yeah, that the future will be better than the present or the past. I think nobody believes that, and this is the part of the being modern. Yeah? Being modern architecture. The belief that the future is better than the past. Nobody believes that. I mean, so this is one of the things which is, I think is very important for the postmodern thinking, because this is postmodern thinking. It's not believing in the future. And, in the architecture, I think, also,
It was beautifully visible at your timeline that you have shown us at the beginning. So absolutely. I don't know if it's a good message for our audience that you cannot believe in the future, especially after yesterday. So I hope that we still can believe in our future, and that, and we wish good luck for Piotr, because in 2 weeks they have their elections as well. So I hope that they will do it better than us. So thank you for being with us, and good luck for your architectural work for the future. And thank you for being with us as well.